So, there is another drowning in Georgia's Lake Lanier. Man 23 years old drowns in Georgia's Lake Lanier after slipping on dock, the eighth death at Haunted Lake this year. Let's get into it. A man drowned at Georgia's Lake Lanier after he ran down a dock and slipped into the water, marking the eighth death at the lake this year. Javier Alexander Whitlock, 23 years old, was found dead at the Holiday Marina on Lake Lanier by the Hall County Fire Rescue on Saturday night. The Department of Natural Resources responded to a drowning call at the lake's oldest and largest marina at around 10:30 p.m. after Whitlock fell into the water and did not resurface. A week prior to Whitlock's death, another 23-year-old man, Edgar Steven Cruz Martinez, drowned when swimming at Lake Lanier on the 26th of August. Before these two men, aged 27 and 61, died the same day in unrelated events. They were both swimming at the lake on the 29th of July when they drowned. Several days after both of these men drowned, a 24-year-old man named Thomas Shepard Milner was electrocuted after jumping off a dock into Lake Lanier. It is estimated that more than 200 people have died at Lake Lanier between 1994 and 2022, according to U.S. Today and Georgia DNR. 6 people drowned in the lake last year, 4 in 2021 and 7 in 2020. In 2012, the son of Tamika Foster, a fashion designer and ex-wife of R&B singer Usher, died when a watercraft struck the boy while he was sitting on an inflatable on the lake. The death of her son, Kyle Glover, who was 11 years old, prompted Mrs. Foster or Miss Foster to start a petition for officials to drain, clean, and restore the lake in order to make it safe and to remove dangerous debris. The online petition has more than 2,500 signatures. Draining, cleaning, and restoring Lake Lanier is not only necessary, but also an opportunity to honor the memory of those who have lost their lives and prevent further tragedies. I think that one has a little more meaning than you know, okay? But before it became a reservoir in 1956, this is where it gets the hauntedness, okay? The town of Oscarville. Alex, what are you even talking about? What's Oscarville? Never heard of it. We'll get into it. A small black community was situated in its place. After lynchings that happened in the area in 1912, more than 1,000 black people were displaced and many properties and businesses ended up in the hands of white people. Now let's explore what they call an underwater ghost town. Okay, this is a theory. We're going to get into what Oscarville was and how it's related to this and why people think it's some kind of supernatural thing going on. Okay. Says relative Oscarville resident shares history behind the city underneath Lake Lanier. It's formed in the late 1800s during the Reconstruction era. Georgia history teacher Lisa Crosby said Oscarville was a thriving black community full of carpenters, blacksmiths, and bricklayers, with farming as the top trade. They had a miraculous farming growth here while the rest of the states were really struggling, she said. That was the case until 1912, when May Crow, a 19-year-old white woman, was found dead in the woods near Oscarville, presumably after being raped. Typically, the answer to the white girls being raped was to go to the black community and start blaming people, is what Crosby said. Now, in regards to what I say, okay, I'm curious because you look at people and you see how white people have in the past, and even to this day, some white people, where they are victimizing other people. They're murdering, they're raping, they're lynching, they're stabbing, they're doing all types of stuff, experimentations and all that. So you see a white girl raped, you automatically think, oh, it was a Negro that did it, right? He did it. Let's go and get them. Or you just wanted a reason, obviously, because it would behoove you to think if we are barbaric enough to do this to other people, wouldn't one of our own have done it to one of us? All been doing it for centuries. It would behoove you to think one of your own did it to you, right? But let's just go and blame somebody else, all right? So that's what they end up doing. Let's continue. When nightfall came, after they discovered the body that they know one of the white people killed, but we're going to pin it on a black person, or black people. When nightfall came, terror began to reign over Oscarville. Crosby said mobs came together, called night riders, and they drove the black community out. Okay? Bob Mackey, filmmaker, stated they were waking up by fires outside, firebombs thrown at the church. The church was the centerfold of the community. So anytime something happened, guess where everyone would go? To the church. Well, they attacked the church where everybody was resting for a sense of protection. Okay. After the destruction in the late 1950s, the Beaufort Dam was built and Lake Lanier was formed, covering up Oscarville and swallowing most of its history. Many people died during the attack trying to get to Gainesville. George Ruckert, a direct descendant who has traced his lineage 4 generations back to Oscarville, told the story of his great-grandfather, Bird Oliver, and how his entire family was forced off of their land. Okay, so this goes from a personal account of what actually happened. Okay, when the night riders came through, they had to leave everything, he said. The main thing they left was property, and my grandfather had, wait for it, 100 acres. This is what happens, and there's so many more massacres that we don't know about. Okay, I will, if I remember to, I'll leave the link to where you could see what all of the other ones were, because it wasn't just this in Tulsa. Okay, there was so many more. Why do you think all these white people had all this land? If you're supposed to get your 40 acres in a mill, because that was something I thought about. I'm like, well, if you're supposed to get your 40 acres in a mill and you're supposed to do all this and y'all got your own separate communities and white people are over here, y'all separate and whatever. I'm like, well, how is that no black people have land? It's because they took it all. Oh, the person was lynched. Oh man, they're dead. Okay, I guess I could seize it. Oh man, we just, not we, but somebody lynched 100 people who all had like a combined 1,000 acres. Well, hey, it's just there. Am I not supposed to take it? Okay. So this happened frequently. This is why black people didn't have anything. People say, black people, y'all don't have generational wealth because y'all don't know how to manage money. Or maybe y'all stole all our property and that's why we don't have it. Okay, but let's continue. Rucker said his family headed for the Chattahoochee River with an angry mob behind them. He said when the mob got to the bridge where they were, they had 2 options: either swim or drown. I would say there's a third one, or die with these people. Okay, so you have to swim or drown. Most of them did not make it. My grandfather is one of them that did. He lost some brothers and sisters on the way. Crosby said whites in the area took over the remaining properties. Oscarville farmers were specifically skilled in raising poultry. Thus, because they went from Oscarville to Gainesville, Gainesville became the poultry capital of the world. Okay, so I'm actually going to put up an image a little snippet of it. It says after World War II, a visionary named Jesse Jewell started what was to become the state's largest agricultural crop poultry. The $2 billion a year industry has given Gainesville the title of poultry capital of said world. All right, so you look at all that. I'm even include some pictures here for you to see. But yeah, this even goes into like what happened in Tulsa. Now, from what I heard, they claim what started it was another victim, a white woman as a victim, where they said she was in some elevator, apparently, and she's in the elevator, and in a 10-second, 15-second ride, she got brutally raped by a black man. So we had to get the government out, and we had to throw bombs on our own people, which is called terrorism, y'all. Okay, but it's not terrorism if it's done to black people. Okay, whatever. But black people in the U.S. is not terrorism, or black people and brown people anywhere. Okay, but what they end up saying was, oh well, because she got abused. This is what happened, and this is what happened. So we have to do what we have to do. We have to destroy the entire Black Wall Street. And now because they had bankers, they had banks, they had their own hospitals, they had their own lawyers, they had their own food, and then they were so successful away from white people, to where it was like, man, we struggling over here. It's because the Negroes, we're always struggling. well, the Negroes were away from you, so y'all could do what y'all do. We're gonna do what we do in our little small town. Man, but y'all making money. Y'all successful. Ooh. Oh man, y'all. Oh, burn that down because they're too happy over there. That's what happened. That's really all that happened is because you were intimidated because white is supposed to be so superior, yet if you're so superior, why are you bothered by people over here living their life away from you? So that's one of the things that get me. And I feel like this. And let me know what y'all think. So people talk about segregation and all that, and we had to integrate and all that. I think integration never should have happened at the time that it happened. Okay, people were not open. People were not accepting of other people. Okay, white people were not accepting of black folks. Let's just keep it real. It is what it is. White people were not accepting of black folks. I think integration never should have happened at the time that it did. Now, I think integration should have happened about 1990. It really is where I thought that would have probably been the better part for it to happen. Not in the 60s and all the other stuff. It shouldn't have happened that early. It was too early. And that's why we got all the extra stuff that we have. Just leave us alone. We're going to be over here and we're going to try to rebuild whatever y'all keep destroying, whatever. And then eventually when we see with more social media going out and all this, oh wow, black people are not that bad. They're not as bad as we thought they were. Oh man. And maybe we should have some integration in the 1990s. Heck, even if you want to do 80s, but I would say 1990s is probably where that really should have been. Let's have more integration there. But since we had it so early and people were not open to something being different than them, because they're still now worried about, oh man, but their skin tone is a little too dark. We got to burn them. And it's like, for what? I feel like now, because we are so open, 1990s is really when we should have been bringing people together. Okay, because regardless, people needed to be brought together, so we didn't have all this hatred. But we should have waited and not have done it so early. I think that was one of the biggest problems, is because at the end of the day, black people were worse off once we got together, in my opinion anyways. Okay, I just feel like we were worse off once you put us together and did not have us segregated anymore. And it's like, what the heck? This didn't benefit us. It didn't benefit us. I feel like if we really would have just pushed it a little bit later, waited to people, you got all your little whatever, maybe you had your little white girls and little white boys, probably like, well, how come I can't hang out with them anymore? But everything, we got more information, we got, a little bit more social media, we got the internet and even though social media wasn't like that, but that would have been your early stages, was the 1990s. Maybe we get into 2005, 2010, got more social media coming out in a bigger way. Hey, I greatly appreciate if you could support me. Simply go to ebay.com. In the search bar, type in Latrice Limited, click on shops, and then support me. I have a wide variety of items on there, many of my own personal Latrice Limited items, such as candles, bath bombs, soaps, essential oil blends, lingerie, robes, so much stuff. I even have men's ties and comic books on there. Definitely support me, and do not forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.